In the 10th month of the first year of the Han Dynasty, 206 BCE, Lord Pei's army finally reached Bas Heng ahead of all other feudal lords. Rode a plain white horse in an unadorned carriage, tied his neck with a silk rope, sealed the imperial seal and tallies, and surrendered by the Road. Some generals suggested executing the king of. Lord Pei said, King Hui initially sent me here precisely because of my tolerance. Besides, he has already surrendered. Killing him would bring ill fortune. He handed Xiang over to his officials and marched west into Xiangyan. Lord Pei intended to rest in the Qin palace, but after admonishments from Feng County and Zhongyangli, he sealed all treasures, valuables, and storehouses in the palace and withdrew his troops to camp at Bas Heng. He summoned the elders and nobles of all counties, saying, You elders have suffered under Qin's harsh laws for far too long. Criticizing the court meant extermination of one's clan, and gathering to talk meant execution in the marketplace. I made a pact with the feudal lords, whoever first enters Guanzhong shall be king here, so I ought to be king of Guanzhong. I hereby make 3 covenants with you. Those who kill shall be put to death. Those who injure others or steal shall be punished according to their crimes. All other Qin laws are abolished. Officials and commoners shall live and work in peace as before. I have come to eliminate harm for you elders. There will be no oppression, so do not fear. I withdraw to Bas Heng only to wait for the feudal lords to arrive and jointly formulate law. He then sent men and Qin officials to patrol the counties and towns, proclaiming this to the people. The people of Qin were overjoyed and invited to bring cattle, sheep, wine, and food to reward the soldiers. Lord Pei declined, saying, The granaries are full, we have no shortage of provisions. I do not want to burden you. The people were even more delighted, fearing only that Lord Pei would not become king of Qin. Someone advised Lord Pei, Qin is 10 times wealthier than any other land and geographically advantageous. Now I hear Zhang Han has surrendered to Xiang Yu, who has envy-fed him as king of Yang to rule Guangzhou. They will soon arrive. You may not be able to hold this land. Quickly send troops to guard Heng Yu Pass, block the feudal lords' armies from entering, and gradually conscript soldiers in Guangzhong to strengthen your forces and resist them. Lord Pei thought this advice sound and adopted. In mid-November, Xiang Yu indeed led the feudal lords' armies westward, intending to enter Heng Yu Pass, only to find the gates tightly shut. When he heard that Lord Pei had pacified Guangzhong, he flew into a rage and sent King Biyu and others to storm the pass. In mid-December, Xiang Yu reached the Shishui Ws Heng, Lord Pei's left Sima. Hearing that Xiang Yu was furious and planned to attack Lord Pei, secretly sent envoys to Xiang Yu, saying, Lord Pei intends to be king of Guangzhong, make Xing his prime minister, and seize all treasures for himself. Ws Heng sought rewards for this information. Gan Zhangyafu urged Xiang Yu to attack Lord. Xiang Yu was feasting his soldiers and planned to engage Lord Pei the next day. At that time, Xiang Yu had 400,000 troops, claiming 1 million, while Lord Pei had 100,000, claiming 200,000, too few to match them. Just then, Xiang Bao, wanting to save Shangliang, went to see him secretly at night. Lord Pei took this opportunity to reason with Xiang Yu through Xiang Bao, and Xiang Yu abandoned his attack plan. Lord Pei then went to Hongmen with over 100 cavalry and a carriage to apologize to Xiang Yu. Xiang Yu said, It was your left Sima Ws Heng who told me this. Otherwise, how could I have planned such a thing? With the help of Fan Kuai and Zheng Lian, Lord Pei managed to escape and return to his camp. Upon his return, he immediately executed Ws Heng. Xiang Yu then marched west, sacking and burning Zhongyangli and the Qin palaces. Nothing remained intact in his path. The people of Qin were bitterly disappointed, but only obeyed him out of fear. Xiang Yu sent envoys to report to King Hui of Qin. King Hui replied, Abide by the pact. Resentful that King Hui had refused to let him march west into Guangzhong with Lord Pei, instead sending him north to relieve Zhao, delaying his chance to fulfill the pact. Xiang Yu said, King Hui was merely installed by my uncle Xiang Lian. He has no merits, how dare he oversee the pact? It is we generals who have pacified the West. Honored King Hui as Emperor Yi, but in reality paid no heed to his orders. Xiang Yu proclaimed himself Overlord of Western Chu, ruling 9 Commander Isn Yang and Chu territories with his capital at Pengqian. Breaking the pact, he renamed Lord Pei King of Han, Enfei offing him with Baishu and Hanzong territories and setting his capital at Nanzheng. He divided Guangzhong into 3 parts. Enfei offering 3 surrendered Qin generals, Zhang Han as king of Yong capital at Feiq, Iu, Sima Zid as king of Sai capital at Yuing, and Dong Yi as king of Di capital at Gaonu. Among other Enfei offments, Shenfu from X, Iu became king of Henan capital at Luoring, Sima Eng as Shao general became king of Ying capital at Chaoji, Shaozi king of Zhao was renamed king of Dai, Zhangras renamed king of Changsha and capital at Xiangjiuo, King Bu Lord Dongyang became king of Gujiang capital at Liu County. Gong Ao pillar general of Tianhui became king of Linzhong capital at Jiangli. Wu Rui Lord Fan became king of Hengshan capital at Zhu County. Sang Tui Yan general became king of Yan capital at Zhu County, and Han Guang, the former king of Yan, was renamed king of Li. When Han Guang refused to submit, Sang to attack and killed him at Yuziha. Chen Yu Lord Chen, and was granted 3 counties in Hejian as his fief. Residing in Nanpai, Meishuan was granted a fief of 100,000 households. All armies withdrew from Xiaguan, and the feudal lords returned to their respective fiefs. The king of Han Liu Bang departed for his fief, accompanied by 30,000 soldiers sent by Xiang. Tens of thousands more officers and soldiers from Shu and other fiefs, admiring the king of Han, followed him. They traveled south from Zhu County into the Shigor. The Han army burned the plank roads along the route, both to prevent surprise attacks by feudal lords or bandits, and to show Xiang Yu they had no intention of marching east. Upon reaching Nanzang, many generals and soldiers deserted and fled east along the way, and the troops sang songs of longing for their eastern homes. Han Zhen advised the king of Han, Xiang Yu has envy-fed meritorious generals as king, yet he has exiled you to Nan. Your officers and soldiers are all from east of the Taihang Mountains, longing day and night to return home. Seize their current fighting spirit to achieve great things. Once the world is settled and people grow complacent, you will never have this chance again. Order a march east and compete for the throne with the feudal lords. Xiang Yu exited Heng Yu Pass and sent men to relocate Emperor Yi, saying, ancient emperors ruled 1,000 li of land and always resided upstream. He dispatched envoys to move Emperor Yi to Chen County in Changsha, pressing him to depart immediately. As Emperor Yi's ministers gradually began to plot rebellion, Xiang Yu secretly ordered the kings of Hengshan and Linzhong to attack Emperor Yi and kill him south of the Yangtze River. Resentful of Qianrong, Xiang Yu envy-fed Yandu, a key general, as king of Qi. Furious, Qianrong proclaimed himself king of Qi, killed Chengdu, and rebelled against Chu. He granted Peng Yu a general seal, ordering him to rebel in Liang territories. Chu sent Shaogang Zhaoyi to attack Peng Yu, but Peng Yu routed him. Resentful that Xiang Yu had not envy-fed him as a king, sent Xiao Yu to persuade Tianrong to lend him troops to attack Zhenghe. He led troops to Chen Yu, who defeated Zhenghe, king of Changsha, and Zhenghe fled to submit to the king of Han. Chen Yu went to Dai to fetch Xiaozi, the former king of Xiao, and reinstalled him as king of Xiao. In return, Xiaozi envy-fed Chen Yu as king of Dai. Xiang Yu, enraged, sent troops north to attack Qi. The king of Han adopted Han Xian's plan, returning to Guanzhong via the old route to attack Shang Han, king of Yang. Shang Han intercepted the Han army at Chen Tenji, but was defeated and forced to retreat. He made a stand at Haoyu, was defeated again, and fled to Feiqiu. The king of Han finally pacified Yang territories, marching to Xianyang and besieging Xianghan in Feiqiu. He also sent generals to conquer Langshi, Beidai and Shenzhen commander I. The king of Han ordered generals Zhu and Wang Shi to march from Wuguan, relying on Wang's troops stationed in Nanyang, to fetch Liu Taigong, his father, and Empress Alvi from Pei. When Chu heard this, it sent troops to block them at Yangixia, halting the Han advance. Xiang Yu then envy-fed Zheng Chang, the former magistrate of Wu, as king of Han, to block the Han army. In the second year of the Han Dynasty, 205 BCE, the king of Han marched east to conquer cities. Sima Zhen, king of Sai, Dongyi, king of Di, and Shen Yan, king of Henan, all surrendered. Seng Chen, king of Han, refused to submit, so the king of Han sent Hans into defeat. The king of Han then established the commander is of Langshi, Beidai, Shenzhen, Weinan, Hishang, and Zongdi, and set up Henan commandery east of Hengyu Pass. He reappointed Hans, in the former Taipei of Han, as king of Han. Generals who led 10,000 men or an entire commandery to surrender were granted fiefs of 10,000 households. The Han army repaired fortifications along the Yellow River, and Qin's former parks and ponds were distributed to commoners for farming. The Han army captured Shang King Shang Han's younger brother, and the king of Han declared an amnesty for prisoners. When the king of Han exited Hengyu Pass and reached Shan County, he comforted the people east of the pass. Upon his return, Shengde came to pay his respects, and the king of Han treated him generously. The king of Han ordered the abolition of the Qin state altar and established the Han state. The king of Han crossed the Yellow River at Linjin, accompanied by Wei Bao, king of Wei, and his troops. The Han army captured He and Ei, seized the king of Yin, and established He and Ei commandery. Marching south, they crossed the Yellow River at Pinyin Ford and reached the Loren. Donggong, an elder from Xin, stopped the king of Han to inform him of Emperor Yi's murder. Horrified, the king of Han bared his upper body and wept, holding a 3-day mourning ritual for Emperor Yi. He sent envoys to notify the feudal lords. All lords jointly established Emperor Yi and served him. Now Xiang Yu has exiled and killed him in Jiangguang. This is treason. I personally mourn Emperor Yi, and all lords shall wear mourning clothes. Mobilize troops from Guanzhong and gather soldiers from the 3 He Commander IS. March south across the Yangtze and Han rivers, and follow me to punish the murderer of Emperor Yi. At that time, Xiang Yu was attacking Qi in the north. Qianrong engaged him at Xihanzhang, but was defeated and fled to Pingyuan, where the locals killed him. All Qi territories surrendered to Chu, but the Chu army took the opportunity to burn Qi cities and abduct its women and children. The people of Qi rebelled again. Younger brother installed Tianguang Tianrong's son as king of Qi, who rebelled against Chu at Xihanzhang. Though Xiang Yu heard the Han army was marching east, he was determined to defeat Qi first before facing Han. Taking up Han coerced troops from 5 feudal lords and finally entered Pentian. When Xiang Yu heard this, he led his army away from Qi, passed through Lu County, set out from Hulu, reached Zhao County, and fought the Han army east of Ling, by near the Sui River at Pentian. He routed the Han army. The Chu army captured the king of Han's parents, wife, and children in Pei and held them hostage in the camp. Seeing Chu's strength and Han's defeat, the feudal lords deserted the king of Han and returned to Qin. Sima Xin, king of Sai, fled to Qin. Lvza Empress Lv's elder brother, commanding a Han army, was stationed at Xiayi. The king of Han fled to him, gradually rallying scattered troops and camping at Den County. He then traveled west through Yang territories to Yu County, sending Sui He a court advisor to meet King Biyu, king of Zhuji. The king of Han said, if you can persuade King Biyu to rebel against Chu, Xiang Yu will be forced to stay and attack Zhuji. If you can delay him for a few months, I will surely conquer the world. Sui He persuaded King Biyu, who indeed rebelled against Chu. Chu sent Wang Ju to attack Guji. When the king of Han retreated west after his defeat at Pentian, he sent men to find his family, but they had fled and could not be found. He only managed to locate Liu Ying Emperor Shaohui. In the 6th month, he established Liu Ying as crown prince and declared an amnesty. He ordered the crown prince to guard Ying, gathering the sons of feudal lords in Guanzhong there for defense. The Han army flooded Defi, Itu with water, the city surrendered, and Zheng Han committed suicide. The king of Han renamed Defi Iu Huili. He then ordered ritual officials to sacrifice to heaven, earth, the 4 directions, the supreme emperor, and mountains and rivers on a seasonal basis. Troops were conscripted from Guanzhong to defend the frontier passes. At that time, King Biyu, king of Gujiang, was defeated by Wang Zhi. He fled with Sui He via back roads to submit to Han. The king of Han gradually rallied his scattered troops, and generals with reinforcements from Guanzhong arrived. Morale at Xinyan was revitalized, and the Han army defeated the Chu army between Jing and Desu. In the 3rd year of the Han Dynasty 204 BCE, Wei Bao requested permission to return home to visit his ailing parents. Upon reaching Wei, he cut off Yellow River ferries, rebelled against Han, and submitted to Chu. The king of Han sent Li Shiti to persuade Wei Bao, but Wei Bao refused. The king of Han sent Hans in to attack Wei, routing the Wei army and capturing Wei Bao. The Han army finally pacified Wei territories, establishing 3 commander IS, Hidong, Taiyan, and Shang Dan. The king of Han then ordered Zhangzin to march east by a Jingxing pass to attack Xiao, killing Chen Yu and Xiao's king of Xiao. The following year, Zheng Ge was fed as king of Xiao. The king of Han camped south of Xingyang, building supply routes connected to the Yellow River to transport grain from AOC and granary. The Han and Chu armies stalemated for over a year. Xiang Yu repeatedly raided the supply routes, cutting off Han's grain. Eventually, Xiang Yu besieged the king of Han, who requested a truce, offering to cede all land west of Xinyan to Han. Xiang Yu refused. Anxious, the king of Han adopted Chen Ping's scheme, giving him 40,000 cat ties of gold to sow discord between Xiang Yu and his ministers. Xiang Yu soon grew suspicious of Fan Zhang, who had been urging Xiang Yu to capture Xinyan immediately, was enraged by the suspicion. He requested to retire due to old age and died before reaching Pentian. With grain exhausted, the Han army sent over 2,000 armored women out of Xinyan's east gate at night. The Chu army besieged them from all sides. General Jizhen then rode the king of Han's carriage, disguising himself as the king of Han to deceive the Chu army. The Chu soldiers all cheered Long Li and flocked to the east gate to watch. Taking advantage of this, the king of Han escaped through the west gate with several dozen cavalry. He ordered Zhu Ken, imperial censor, Wei Bao, and Zhang Gong to defend Xingyang. Generals and soldiers unable to flee remained in the city. Zhu Ken and Zhang Gong discussed privately. Wei Bao is the king of a rebellious state. We cannot defend the city with him. They then killed Wei Bao. When the king of Han fled Xingyang and entered Guangzhong, he rallied his scattered troops, intending to march east again. Yuan Sheng advised him, the Han and Chu armies have been stalemated at Xinjiang for years, and the Han army is always in distress. I hope your majesty will launch an attack from Mugua. Xiang Yu will certainly lead his troops south in person. Your majesty can rely on deep moats and high ramparts to let the soldiers between Xinjiang and Chengao rest temporarily. Send Han Xin and others to pacify Shao north of the Yellow River and form alliances with Yan and Qi. It will not be too late for your majesty to return to Xinjiang afterward. In this way, Chu will have to defend many places, dispersing its forces. The Han army can rest and then engage Chu in battle. We will surely defeat them. The king of Han adopted his plan, dispatched troops, and camped between Wan County and Yi County, gathering scattered soldiers along the way with King Biyu. When Xiang Yu heard that the king of Han was in Wan County, he indeed led his troops southward. The king of Han held fast to his camp and refused to engage the Chu army. Han Yu crossed the Sui River and fought Xiangsheng and Zugong at Xiapi, routing the Chu army. Xiang Yu then led his troops ceased to attack Pen Yu. The king of Han also marched north and camped at Chengao. After Xiang Yu repulsed Pen Yu, he heard that the king of Han had reoccupied Chengao, so he led his troops west again, captured Xinyang, killed Juken's Onggong, captured Han Wang's Inn, and finally besieged Chengao. The king of Han fled, escaping alone with Tenggong by carriage through the Yumen gate of Chengao. They crossed the Yellow River northward and drove to Xiyu to take shelter. The next morning, the king of Han, pretending to be an envoy, drove into Zhongyangli Han Xin's camp and seized their military power. He then ordered Zhang Ge to recruit soldiers in Zhao to reinforce the army, and Han Xin to march east to attack. With Han Xin's troops under his command, the Han army's morale was revitalized. The king of Han led his army to the Yellow River, went south to feast his soldiers south of Zhao Xiyu, and planned to engage in battle again. However, Zhengzong dissuaded him, urging him to rely on high ramparts and deep moats and avoid fighting Xiang Yu. The king of Han adopted his advice, sending Liu Wan and Liu Jia with 20,000 soldiers and several hundred cavalry to cross the Yellow River at Biame Fort, enter Chu territory, and join Pen Yu in defeating the Chu army west of the outer city of Yan County. They recaptured more than 10 cities in Liang territory. After receiving his order, the Marquis of Hui Yinhan's marched east, but had not yet crossed the Yellow River when he reached Pingyuan. The king of Han sent Li Shiti to persuade Tianguang, the king of Qi. Tianguang rebelled against Chu, made peace with Han, and agreed to jointly attack Xiang Yu. However, Han Xin adopted Kuai Tong's plan and ultimately conquered Qi. Enraged, Tianguang boiled Li Shiti alive and fled east to Gao. Heard that Han Xin had led his troops north of the Yellow River to conquer Tianzhou and intended to attack Chu. He sent Long Zhu and Zhu Lan to intercept him. Han Xin engaged the Chu army, and Guan Ying, the cavalry general, launched an attack, routing the Chu army and killing Long Zhu. Xiangguang fled to Pen Yu. At this time, Pen Yu led his troops to camp in Liang territory, harassing the Chu army repeatedly and cutting off their grain supply routes. In the 4th year 203 BCE, Xiang Yu said to Cao Jiayu, the Marquis of Hai Chun and Grand Marshal, guard Chengao carefully. If the Han army challenges you, never engage them in battle, you only need to prevent them from marching east. I will certainly pacify Yang territory within 15 days and then join you, general. He then dispatched troops to attack Chenliu, Waihuan, and Suyang, capturing all 3 cities. As expected, the Han army challenged the Chu army repeatedly, but the Chu army refused to fight. The Han army sent men to insult the Chu army for 5 or 6 consecutive days. The Grand Marshal, infuriated, ordered his soldiers to cross the Sea River. When half of the troops had crossed, the Han army launched an attack, routing the Chu army and seizing all their gold, jade, and valuable. Cao Jiayu, the Grand Marshal, and Sima Xin, the chief clerk, both committed suicide by the Sea River. When Xiang Yu arrived in Suyang and heard that the Marquis of Hai Chun had been defeated, he led his army back. The Han army was besieging Zhongyangli east of Xinyang at that time. Upon Xiang Yu's arrival, all Han troops retreated to strategically advantageous terrain. After Han's conquered Qi, he sent envoys to inform the king of Han, keep orders Chu, and my authority is too limited. If I do not become the acting king, I fear I cannot stabilize Qi. The king of Han wanted to attack Han Xin, but the Marquis of Liu Angliang said, it is better to take this opportunity to enfei off him as king of Qi and let him defend Qi for himself. The king of Han then sent Shen Liang with a seal to enfei off Han's Inn as king of. When Xiang Yu heard that Long Zhu's army had been defeated, he grew fearful and sent Wuxi from Sui to persuade Han's Inn to defect, but Han's Inn refused. The Chu and Han armies had been stalemated for a long time with neither gaining victory. Strong young men were exhausted by battle, and the elderly and weak were worn out by transporting supplies. The king of Han, Xiang Yu, met to talk across the Guangwu Gorge. Xiang Yu wanted to challenge the king of Han to a one-on-one duel. The king of Han listed Xiang Yu's crimes. Initially, Yu and I received orders from King Hui with the agreement that whoever first conquers and pacifies Guanzhong shall be king there. You broke the pact and then fed me as king of Shu and Han. This is your first crime. You falsely transmitted King Hui's order to kill the noble champion, Song Yi, and made yourself Grand Marshal. This is your second crime. After relieving Xiao, you should have returned to report, but you arbitrarily coerced the feudal lords' armies into Guanzhong. This is your third crime. No violence or plunder would be allowed in Qin territory, yet you burned the Qin palaces, dug up Emperor Shi Huang's tomb, and privately seized his treasures. This is your fourth crime. You forcibly killed Ziying, the surrendered king of Qin. This is your fifth crime. You deceived and buried 200,000 Qinyus alive in Xin'an, yet envy-fed their generals as kings. This is your sixth crime. You envy-fed your own generals as kings in fertile lands, drove out the original rulers, and incited vassals to rebel. This is your seventh crime. You drove Emperor Yi out of Pengtian, made it your own capital, seized the Marquis of Han's fief, ruled over Liang and Chu territories, and took more land for yourself. This is your eighth crime. You sent men to assassinate Emperor Yi in Jiangli. This is your ninth crime. As a minister, you killed your sovereign, you executed surrendered soldiers, you governed unfairly and broke your promises. The whole world cannot tolerate such treachery. This is your 10th crime. I led the righteous army with the feudal lords to execute you, a cruel villain. I would send even a convicted criminal to kill you. Why would I duel you? Xiang Yu was furious. Shot the king of Han, who was hit in the chest but covered his foot and said, "The villain shot my toe." The king of Han lay in bed due to his injury. Zhang Liang urged him to force himself up to inspect and comfort the soldiers, to stabilize morale and prevent the Chu army from taking advantage of the victory to attack. The king of Han went out to inspect the army, but his injury worsened, so he drove to Qinggao for treatment. When the king of Han recovered from his injury, he traveled west into Guangzhong and arrived at Yuing. He comforted the local people, hosted a feast, and had Sima Zhen, the former king of Sai, beheaded in the streets of Yuing to display his head to the public. 4 days later, the king of Han returned to the army and camped at Guangwu. Reinforcements from Guangzhong were dispatched to join the army. At this time, Peng Yu led his troops to camp in Liang territory, harassing the Chu army repeatedly and cutting off their grain supply routes. Xiang went to submit to Peng Yu. Xiang Yu attacked Peng Yu and his allies several times, while Han Xin, the king of Qi, advanced to attack the Chu army. Plagued by fear, Xiang Yu made a pact with the king of Han to split the empire equally. The land west of the Hongjiou Gorge would belong to Han, and the land east of the gorge to Qin. Xiang Yu returned the king of Han's parents, wife, and children. The Han army cheered long live and began to retreat. Xiang Yu lifted the siege and marched east. The king of Han initially intended to lead his troops westward, but he adopted the strategy of Zhongyangli, Marquis of Liu and Chenping, and instead sent his army to pursue Xiang Yu. They advanced to the south of Yang Xi and camped there, agreeing with Han Xin, king of Qi, and Peng Yi, Marquis of Ji and Cheng, on a time to join forces and attack the Chu army. When the king of Han arrived at Guling, Han Xin and Peng Yi had not come to rendezvous. The Chu army launched an attack and routed the Han army. The king of Han retreated into his camp, digging deep trenches to defend himself. He then adopted Zhang Liang's plan, after which Han Xin and Peng Yu finally led their troops to join him. By the time Liu Jia entered Chu territory and besieged Shuchun, the king of Han, having been defeated at Guling, sent envoys to summon Cao Yin, the grand marshal. Cao Yin mobilized all troops in Gujiang to meet the prince of Wu Pingbiyu. On their march, they sacked Chengfu. Later they joined Liu Jia and the nobles of Qi and Liang at Gasha. The king of Han envy-fed the prince of Wu as king of Hua and An. In the 5th year 200 BCE, Emperor Gaozi Liu Bang and the armies of the feudal lords attacked the Chu army together, engaging Xiang Yu in a decisive battle at Beijing. The Marquis of Huiyin led 300,000 troops to stand alone in the front. General Kong commanded the left wing. General Fei the right wing. The Emperor Liu Bang was positioned at the rear, with Marquis Zhangxu Bo and General Chai behind him. Xiang Yu had approximately 100,000 soldiers. Han Xin took the lead in engaging Xiang Yu, but was defeated and withdrew. General Kong and General Fei then launched an attack, and the Chu army was overwhelmed. Han Xin seized the opportunity to counterattack, routing Xiang Yu's forces, a crushing defeat at Goixi. When the Chu soldiers heard the Han army singing songs of Chu, they believed Han had fully occupied Chu territory. Xiang Yu thus fled in defeat, and the Chu army collapsed completely. The king of Han sent Guan Yin, the cavalry general, to pursue and kill Xiang Yu at Dongkanj, slaying 80,000 enemy soldiers, and finally pacifying Chu territory. The people of Liu County held out in defense of Chu and could not be conquered. The king of Han led the feudal lords' armies northward, showing Xiang Yu's head to the people of Liu, who then surrendered. The king of Han therefore buried Xiang Yu at Guchen with the honors due to a duke of Liu. On his way back he arrived at Dingtao, drove into Han Xian's camp, and seized his military power.